You ever notice how the real drama in life doesn't explode? It kind of sneaks up, then smacks you in the face while you're just trying to mind your own business. I mean, one minute you're tightening a screw on your pool fence, sweating through your shirt in the afternoon sun, humming a tune, and then bam, here comes that HOA storm you thought had passed. No warning, no time to brace. Just Winona Bradshaw's voice, sharp as a mosquito and twice as relentless, cutting through the quiet. What do you think you're doing, Trevor? If you've never had a Karen appear out of nowhere, count your blessings. I wiped my forehead and turned around, trying to play it cool. There she was, arms crossed, sunglasses, riding high like a tiara, her whole posture just screaming, "I run this street." And behind her, her son Calb spinning a lacrosse stick like he was guarding the gates of Buckingham Palace. "I'm putting a smart lock on my own fence, Winona," I told her, waving the instruction manual like it was a peace treaty. "It keeps the pool safe for kids, yours included." She didn't miss a beat. "This is an HOA neighborhood. You can't just start installing unauthorized surveillance tech." I actually laughed. "It's a lock, not a drone, and it's on my deeded property. County code says I can." You could see the steam pouring out of her ears. She doubled down, said the pool fence was visible from the walkway, so it fell under shared visibility. I said, "Nope. It's behind my line, marked and measured, same as 2 years ago when you all tried to find me and lost." But Winona wasn't after logic. She was after a win. She spun around and dragged Calb away, and for a second I thought I'd dodged a bullet. Not even 5 minutes later, I'm fiddling with the app on my phone and I see blue lights strobing on the street. 2 squad cars. One officer steps up, all careful, says they got a call about unauthorized surveillance equipment and possible child endangerment. You ever get that sinking feeling where your mouth goes dry and you know someone's just thrown you under the bus? "Yeah, that happened." "You're kidding, right?" I said. "No, sir. Caller said you installed a surveillance system on HOA land and there was a child in danger." I pointed at my fence. "That'd be Cal Bradshaw, and this is my yard, my fence, my pool." The officer asked for proof, so I tell him, "Come on inside. I've got paperwork for days." While I'm in the house pulling out deeds and permits, I glance at my security feed, and there's Calb. Not just near the fence inside the yard right by the pool. I sprinted out. "Hey, what the hell is your kid doing in my pool?" The officer looked surprised. "He's in your yard." "Yeah, and I've got the footage." Winona comes running again, arms flapping like she's dodging bees. "He was making sure you weren't hiding anything dangerous," she yells. "He's a minor, he trespassed, and if you called 911 while he was in my yard, you lied." I shot back. The officer takes my tablet, sees clear as day. Calb climbing through the gate. "Ma'am," he says, "did you know your son entered his property?" "He was trying to protect our neighborhood from illegal surveillance," Winona barks. "By breaking and entering," I said. The cops start scribbling notes. That's when I realized this wasn't about a lock. Winona was trying to set me up, and she was willing to use her own kid to do it. Next morning, I'm watering the roses thinking maybe that's the end. Then a black SUV glides up, shiny, expensive, out of place. Guy in a navy suit steps out, cuff-sharp briefcase in hand, HOA pin on his lapel like he's about to prosecute the OJ trial. "Trevor Langley," he says. "If you're here about the lock, take a number," I tell him. He hands me a sealed envelope. It's a formal notice, unauthorized modifications, endangerment of a minor, non-compliance with Article 7, subsection C. There's a hearing date and a fine $3,250. I laugh. My property, my line, and your endangered child climbed in uninvited. He doesn't blink. HOA interpretation takes precedence on visibility. You're not just the messenger, are you? I'm the HOA's legal consultant. I advise you to appear at the hearing or you risk a lien. Then he's gone like a villain in a Netflix show. So here's where most folks might panic, but not me. I dig in. Pull up the HOA charter bylaws, amended 6 times, but the same nonsense. Article 7 says no unauthorized structures on communal land or visible from the easement. But my fence isn't on communal land. Never was. County map proves it. I checked the HOA portal. No posted violation. That's weird. Call the county clerk. No complaints filed against me. Nothing official. They're bluffing, hoping I'll cave. But Calb trespassing. That's real. And Winona's 911 call. That's a criminal false report. I drive down to the sheriff's office with footage timeline and a USB stick. Deputy Harmon, I say I got proof that 911 call was a setup. She sent her son in, waited, then called pretending he was in danger. Harmon watches the footage, jaw clenched. This isn't just a civil issue now, he says. I'm sending this to the DA. I walk out with a signed statement, the evidence entered into record. Not even an hour later, I get an email from the city council, Sarah Mallister. Heard you're in another fight with Bradshaw Ridge HOA. I'm compiling complaints. Want to include yours for an audit. She remembered me from my old fence permit. I send everything video violation letter parcel map. Then I start digging deeper. Turns out the HOA spent $20,000 last quarter on security enhancements, no receipts, no explanation, all signed by Winona and her board. Smells like fraud. That's when I call my neighbor Marcus, retired Air Force Lives, for gadgets. You still got that drone footage from the July 4th cookout, I ask. Need a shot of Winona's backyard. He sends it. Turns out her own pool gate doesn't even have a lock. So she's trying to find me for a safety measure she doesn't bother with herself. Thursday rolls around, hearing night. Clubhouse is packed. Residents crowd in, faces tight. Some recording on their phones, others pretending not to notice. Winona's at the front with her two stooges, Harold, with the squint Beverly, the yellow paint police. I sit front row, binder thick as a phone book. Winona starts the hearing, voice shaky but loud, reading off accusations. Unsafe lock, endangering kids, surveillance. I hold up my binder. Before we start, are any of you under investigation by the city council? Dead silence. Because I've got confirmation there's a city review into Bradshaw Ridge, 7 complaints before mine, plus video evidence sent to the DA. Beverly's hand shakes. Harold squirms. That's not relevant, Harold says. It's absolutely relevant, I reply, flipping to the parcel map. Here's county proof my fence and lock are inside my lot. Here's video of Calb trespassing through my gate, not the walkway, not the fence. And here's Winona calling 911 after he's already inside. I run the footage on a projector. The room is silent. Winona stands up. That video wasn't consented. It was on my property, and it's now evidence in a criminal case, I say. A woman in the back asks, Is it true, Winona? Did you send Calb in? No comment, she snaps. This is about the lock. Funny, because your own pool doesn't even have one. Marcus's drone footage lights up the screen, her backyard wide open, not a lock in sight. The room starts buzzing, people whispering, pointing. What about those security funds? Where's our money gone? Marcus stands up, folder in hand. We can force a recall vote if 25% sign this petition. I've already started. Neighbors jump in line to sign. Winona bolts for the door, her legal consultant right behind. Beverly and Harold freeze like they just saw a ghost. Outside, I barely make it to my truck before sheriff's deputies pull up Mr. Langley. We need to follow up on emergency misuse and potential HOA fraud. I point them inside. Neighbors gather, some laughing for the first time in years. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. This time the HOA couldn't rewrite the rules and the neighborhood was finally waking up. 2 days later, county records show someone filed for all my permits. Winona or one of her friends still digging for dirt. I'm done playing defense. I meet with Carla Voss, an attorney who's already heard the story. This is fraud and criminal misuse of emergency services, she says. File with the state. If enough sign, the board's dissolved permanently. That night we go door to door, neighbors open up, share stories. We get 70 signatures. Complaint filed, evidence, stacked affidavits sent. 3 days later, feds roll in. Black SUV badges out HUD fraud division. Turns out Winona's $20,000 security upgrade was laundered through a fake company tied to her name. I hand over the Binder Bank records footage. That night, patrol cars swing into Winona's driveway. She's cuffed and led away in slippers and a blazer. Calb stands on the lawn, just a kid looking lost. Charges: embezzlement, wire fraud, false emergency report. The HOA dissolved in a week. All fines and violations voided. For the first time in nearly 20 years, we could breathe. A week later, the city council invites me to speak about oversight. I mostly listen, watching neighbors who used to whisper now speak out. Back home, my smart lock clicks shut, and I realize I'm not worried anymore. A few days after that, a letter arrives, apology from the city, a certificate for civic diligence. I stick it on the fridge with a wrench-shaped magnet. Fitting. The neighborhood changes. We start a volunteer council, no fines, no threats, just folks looking out for each other. We paint mailboxes, plant a community garden, and get this Calb drops by while I'm in the roses. My mom's probably going to prison, he says, voice shaky. That's not on you, I tell him. He shrugs. I thought she was protecting the neighborhood. She was protecting power, I say. There's a difference. He stares at the flowers, then walks off quiet. Not everyone gets closure, but in Bradshaw Ridge, we got something close. A neighborhood free of fear. A system held accountable. And a smart lock humming in the sun, guarding what no one had the right to take in the first place. Now, let me ask you, what would you have done in my shoes? Ever had to stand up to folks who think the rules don't apply to them? Drop your stories below, because honestly, the only way to keep communities honest is to keep talking. And if you've ever tangled with an HOA, you know sometimes the only way out is straight through.